Good morning. I was asked if I would show the difference between freshwater and saltwater pearls. So without further ado, let me run through the collection I have and how I can tell the difference. Thanks. Okay, here's my collection laid out on a white towel so we can see the differences between the pearls. Pearls are tricky to photograph under bright light because they just turn shiny and it's hard for the camera to pick up the colors. So this is just a quick down and dirty between freshwater and saltwater pearls. So here's my collection of saltwater pearls. Here I have Tahitians, another set of Tahitians. This yellow are some very tiny South Sea pearls. And they're yellow into even a little greenish cast to them. Here's another Tahitian. So these Tahitians are undyed. That's just their natural color. These right here are Baroque South Sea, and you can see the color, or I'm sorry, the shape is off round. And that's what my budget can afford. They're much cheaper that way than getting the full round pearls. This, it's a little hard for me to see, sorry. This pair right here is a black and white pair that I made from the Pearl House on Etsy is where I located the pearls. And these are very unusual. I asked Jock to find me black and white, and he did a great job. That's about the lightest Tahitian I've ever seen, but it is a Tahitian pearl. Tahitians come in all sorts of colors. Here I have Kamoka pearl set, and I want you to look for a minute at the color and how just beautiful these pearls are. Kamokas I have had such wonderful luck with, but these are like a lovely cherry peacock color. Up here is another Kamoka pearl I have, and it's very hard to see here, but let me see if I can block the light. The bottom is like a burnished copper, and the top is actually blue, but it's going to be very hard to pick that up, and it has like a little belly band on it. Now, talking about Akoyas, these are blue Akoyas. They're from Saltwater, and they are made one at a time in an Akoya pearl, or excuse me, Akoya oyster. And the color is a natural color, and a lot of times when the pearls come out blue, they're also slightly baroque, so the color, the shape's off a little bit. Here we have old Akoya strand. It's got the graduated sizes and colors. One thing you can kind of tell about an Akoya is the color, or sorry, the shape is usually rounder because they've been made on a bead. And the shine is usually pretty good. Hopefully, anyway, if they're good pearls. And then I'm going to side by side that with a nice freshwater strand. It's a pretty strand. The colors are nice and it's still shiny, but if you look very closely, you'll see a difference in the roundness between my Akoya strand and the freshwater strand. So over here with the freshwaters, one quick and easy way to tell a freshwater from an Akoya is the color. You see here we have some goldy pinks and lavender colors. Those colors usually don't come out in an Akoya. So when you see these colors and people are doing the pearl party thing and they're taking out these soft, pretty pastel colors and telling you that they're Akoya pearls, they're not. Akoyas don't make them in this color. It just is not the fact here. These right here are a couple of large Baroque shaped freshwaters. Again, just have them in here for the color. It's a pretty, I've shown this before, it's a souffle, but this is also on freshwater. It's hollow inside. These I had shown previously. They're a dyed freshwater. I assume they're dyed, yeah. Akeshi pearl. And then here is a dyed pretty peacock freshwater necklace. This is something that you'll see a lot of on eBay, and they'll try to tell you they're Tahitians. And, you know, they'll try to sell them for Tahitian prices, and they're pretty, but they're not Tahitian pearls. And if I go side by side over here with my Tahitian strand, you'll see there's a difference between the sort of the shine and the colors. And a lot of times you can also tell if something's dyed, because the dyed pearls will have a some dark places where the color is very concentrated. I am not seeing it on this strand, but that's usually how one can tell. But they're sort of a potato-y shape. There's just a shape difference and a color difference, and nothing wrong with them. The other thing I want to talk about with this is a lot of the pearl party people are saying, well, you know, hey, it's Akoya pearls, or it's not Akoya pearls, and I'm upset because my pearls are fake. Your pearls aren't fake. They're real pearls. They're just not terribly expensive pearls. They're perfectly fine, and actually they have a thicker nacre layer because they're made on a little tiny piece of tissue, where the saltwater pearls are made on a bead, which these have a bead in the middle. So the bead, Akoya, let me just show you something real quick. And Akoya, to have a thick nacre, only has to be 0.45 thick. And so, do you see how thick this is? Just to give you an idea. That is an acceptable amount of nacre that goes around a bead in an Akoya pearl. Nothing wrong with that. But if you get thinner than this, you can have problems with the nacre peeling. So this is why I think it's really important, if you're going to go and buy pearls, you need to work with a vendor who you can trust. Because if you get thin nacred Akoya, they're just not going to last, and you're going to be throwing your money away, which is no good. Aside from that, these are all freshwaters, well, except for the Akoya here. These are all freshwaters. Nothing wrong with them. They're very pretty little pearls. They're just not terribly expensive, and they don't have a great deal of value. But there's nothing wrong with them, and they're solid nacre. So if you're playing the pearl party game and you have some pearls, the only reason I even started the page is not because I think that they're not real pearls. They are real pearls, but they are sometimes iffy grade, sometimes really not great grade, and sometimes pretty nice little freshwater pearls, and they're not worth a great deal of money. So I don't want you guys to fall for the $60 or $80 a pearl price tag on them. They just don't go like that. This one might be worth that, but this is a very unusual pearl. So that one, I paid more than that. And this one is a really pretty keshi, and might be worth a little bit more. But if you're talking about garden variety round pearl, they're just not hold that sort of, $50 to $80 value. That's just not what they cost. And so that's it. Just a little bit of education. Hopefully I didn't bore you. This is definitely not my day job, and you can probably tell. So you have a great day.